Hello class, welcome to our lesson today. We're looking at chapter 2, section 1, which deals with rational numbers. We're going to go through some basic pieces today and then finish up with rational numbers in the next class period. What you want to pay attention to is some of the ordering and watch your negative signs as we look at some of these things and being able to compare numbers as well. Okay, so for the first set of questions, I want you to be able to pause the video and make sure that you're able to compare the numbers that are given here. You should be able to complete the statement using a less than, greater than, or equal to sign on all 6 of these. So if you take a minute, pause this video and make sure you're able to answer all 6 of these questions, and then you can check the answers in a moment. So here are the 6 answers. The important thing is when they're not common denominators, you probably should get them to be a common denominator in order to compare them. Number 4 especially is missed by a lot of students because 1 is greater than -6, but 1 is greater than 0.6. But remember, as negatives, negative 0.6 is a higher number because it's closer to 0, because less than and greater than is strictly off of a number line. If you have questions on these 6 problems, make sure you ask about them to make sure that you understand what you need to do. The next thing that you need to be able to do is to order numbers from least to greatest. A lot of the questions you're going to be looking at today will be fairly obvious which one is smallest or largest. For example, 1.25 is the highest positive compared to 0.5. That's fairly obvious. So we're kind of using the integers. You'll notice in blue I wrote -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I put all these numbers on a number line to get a basic idea where they're at. I'm not saying you have to use a number line, but a lot of times students will forget a number or they'll put things in the wrong order because they don't realize really what they're looking at. For example, how could -1/3 be more negative than -0.5? It's less than half, and so it's closer to 0, and it is third in order then. On this next question, the part that I like to talk about is this 9/2. 9/2 is 4.5, and it's way down here on the line. It's not even close to the other one, so it should be fairly obvious that it's the largest. The other thing is -1.4 and then -3/5. Okay, -1.4 is less than -3/5 because just look at it on a number line. -1.4 is further to the left compared to -3/5, which is kind of in between -1 and 0. When you're doing questions like this on your homework, try to leave your answers in whatever format they give you originally. That's good practice and making sure you can switch back and forth as needed. But as a general rule of thumb, you want to use the original format when you write your answer. Okay, the next one, you'll notice here I have -1.25. Okay, so this would be an example of kind of writing it in a different format. Recognizing those two things, -5/4 and -1.25 are the same, is important. And just realize that the back of the book will typically have -5/4, and you probably want to aim more for that as you keep moving forward. Not that it's wrong if it's in a different format, you just want to be able to explain it. That's smaller than -1.1 and the -0.8. Obviously, the positives should be bigger than the negatives. Every once in a while, you might get yourself confused because you lose track of a negative sign somewhere. That could affect your answer. So you just want to be careful on those as you're looking at those least to greatest problems. The other format of a question might give you some blanks to fill in and say find a rational number to fit the blank. We'll talk more about rational numbers later in this lesson, probably in the next class period. The important thing here is think about integers. Integers are versions of rational numbers. So if this is -1/2 and this is 1/3, an easy rational number in between is 0. In between these two, an easy one is 1 and then 2. We're using kind of the same technique, but it's just backwards. So you want to have a general idea like -5/2 is 2.5 in the negative realm. So -2 would be between those. Obviously, there's more than that fit in between, but some easy ones would be the integers to be able to use. So keep that in mind as you're looking at these questions, that it might be helpful to use the integers to be able to find that answer as opposed to some really complicated fractions. Okay, why don't you take a moment, pause the video and just try these real quick. There might be a little bit more complication to these ones as opposed to just whole numbers and integers, but you can still use the same concept in general in order to find these answers. Okay, so if I was looking at this, the only complicated one was really this one right here. Because it's -1/3, which is -0.3 repeating, and -0.1, So negative 0.2 would be an example that fits here. All the rest should be integers. Like you can make this 0, make that 1, make this negative 2, make this 0, make this 4. Okay, you get these basic guidelines figured out. You can use those to be able to answer your questions. Okay, the homework for today is pretty short, but make sure that you're looking at the questions carefully. Numbers 28 through 33 and numbers 48 through 52 in the exercises of section 2.1. Have a good day, everybody.